some unusual bidding techniques.
The Property Podcast.
Welcome to the Property Podcast here, Harcourts New Age. And if you watched our previous episode, I did let slip that we've got the better looking half of South Auckland's top real estate team on the show this time. It's Alex Dunn from Harcourts Papakura. Welcome on the show. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you, Craig. Appreciate it.
Love it. I'm excited to catch up with you because you are a gentleman that is committed to smashing goals, and you're very driven. I know we're going to get some good value out of our conversation. Where do I want to start is just tell us a little bit about your background, Alex, like before real estate.
Yeah, so I was marketing manager prior to coming into real estate and working for a small business. I think it was about 10 people in the company, and sort of around that time we went into that COVID lockdown. Business went through a huge growth trajectory there. Business owner was, obviously making a lot of money, new cars and housing, all that kind of thing. And I'm sitting in this chair in my, cut off jeans and sneaks saying, look, I'm never going to have those cars if I keep sitting in this desk and doing what I'm doing now. I'm never going to have that house kind of thing. So I sort of started looking around. I was always doing a little bit of freelance marketing on the side for other companies, some within New Zealand, some outside of New Zealand, trying to play with those time zones so I can come home from work at whatever it was, 5, 6 o'clock, and then jump into a, New York time zone. I had clients there and start working with those clients as well, make some little bit extra money on the side. And then I just wanted more. I just wanted more chase. And I think perhaps I lost the passion a little bit for just being a sole marketer and just doing a lot of strategy stuff. So looked elsewhere. Always had a little bit of passion in real estate. My parents bought and sold a lot of houses over my time. We're always shifting around. So there was always a little bit of interest there. Did a little bit of background on it, always wanted to dabble in sales. And I was in a marketing role. I always wanted to try and, jump in with the sales guys and run out to do meetings with them with the supermarkets and stuff like that. So just real estate was just a good fit. I really wanted that flexibility to do what I wanted to do and chase what I wanted to chase rather than have someone say, this is your job, this is your day, this is what you're going to do every day. I wanted to make the rules. And I didn't want to have a cap on my income as well. I knew that if I worked really hard and I put the right skills into play, there's no limit for me. So that's what really led me to real estate, and here we are.
How long now?
I think this is fourth year.
Okay.
Fourth year.
It just cast your mind back. I guess talk about the whole 4 years, but some of the challenges early on would be quite interesting to hear about.
Yeah. I guess the biggest challenge for us is that, well, for myself, I guess I will speak personally, is actually having no database in Papakura area. When I joined another company in the Papakura area, I was living in Mount Wellington at the time, and I just liked what was happening in South Auckland. I liked the growth that was happening. I just thought the people were a little bit more real and a bit more, I could relate to them a little bit more. So that's what kind of attracted me to Papakura, in particular in the South Auckland. So moved in there. I had no database. So the challenge for me was building that database, and for me doing that the best way we could, door knocking. Just knocking on doors, talking to people. I wasn't that cold calling kind of guy. I think, I thought it was a bit too easy. You get cold call, easy for someone to hang up on. It's hard to slam the door in someone's face, and they're standing on your property. So that was a real big thing in building our database and having good communications. And then trying to figure out your script on your own. Are you knocking on the door and just saying, do you want to sell your house? Or you knock on the door to give value? And that's where you start building your database properly.
Had you done door knocking prior?
Never.
Right.
Never, ever. But it was just something that, the old saying, you got to love it to hate it, or hate it to love it. So that was just one thing that I just fully embraced it. It's like, okay, my first day in the business, I got nothing else to do. May as well just door knock, and I could see no one else was doing it. If it was too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry, no one was doing door knocking. Those are the opportunities that I was capitalizing on to go door knocking and collect that data.
How did you weren't part of a team when you first started, right?
No, I was a sole agent. So I think a sole agent for, it wasn't long, it might have been a month. couple of weeks anyway. But Amy was door knocking one side of Papakura, I was door knocking the other side of Papakura. We just sort of, you're not getting success, I'm not getting success, so let's just not get success together. And just started door knocking, misery loves company. And then just things started to click into place, and we managed to knock on a door. Guy owned this property, it was 900 odd square meters. He owned the next door house as well. He said, look, I want to sell it, I don't want a signboard, I'll give you a listing for 5 days, see what you can do. We took him 5 offers in 5 days and sold it for around 2.7 million.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. Okay, so you start out and you start smashing out door knocking.
Yeah.
And I tell you, there will be agents watching this that have sold real estate for 10, 15 years and still feel uncomfortable about knocking on the neighbour's door to say, I just want to let you know I've listed your neighbour's house for sale. How do you overcome that whole voice in your head that says, oh, there's so many real estate agents, why would they choose me? I'm bothering these people. And all of that negative self-talk, particularly that you encounter when you first get into real estate. Like give the audience some tips and what happened for you in that space.
Yeah, I got a super strong mindset. So my mindset for that was, well, to achieve your goals, this is what you got to do. You don't have to love it, but this is what we got to do. And it's just to get out there and do it. And I guess for me, it was like, well, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. We'd have every agent door knocking all the time. And it'd just be something you did. But because we've talked this into, like you say, they don't want to talk to me, they don't want to be bothered. That's not the case most of the time. Most of the time, homeowners want to know what's happening around them. So why not just knock on the door? It's the message you deliver, like I'm saying before. What value are you giving them? Are you just knocking on the door to try and sell their house? Or are you knocking on the door to give them value? What's sold around them? What's just listed around them? Invite them to the open homes. What are you saying?
It reminds me, actually, when I kind of first started to get to know you, you sent me a text one night saying, it was a screenshot of a text that you had received because one of your brochures went into a letterbox and the guy didn't want to receive it.
That's right, yeah.
Just let's hang around that for a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you got in contact with the guy? You called him?
Yeah. He texted me with all sorts of abusive language. We won't go into it. Saying, can you not read? You're this, you're that. I just rang him back. I just think if you can receive a letter like, I just listed in your area letter, and you're so angry, like, let's call the guy. Are you all good? And
I think he's ended up telling you it was a crappy day at work.
Yeah, he had a crap day. The weather was not the best either, and he actually ended up giving me his address and his name and all that kind of thing. And I just text him once a month, just say, hey, just listed near you, instead of putting in his letterbox he didn't want to receive. So I text him now.
I love it because therein lies the thing, right? You don't know what's
going on in people's day. Yeah, I mean, there's been times we've knocked on doors, have opened the door, this lady screamed at us. Okay, all right, well, all the best. It's something that's happening for them. I believe no one can open the door and just start screaming at you. It's something that's happening in their life, and you just happen to be wrong place, wrong time.
Talk to me about structure and. Actually, let's start here. Yesterday when I rocked up to Papakura, I expected to have to turn off the alarm and turn on the lights.
Yeah.
No, you're already there and look like you've been there for some time. So when does your day start and how do you kind of structure it? If we looked at your Outlook calendar, would it be like, oh my goodness, look at all those blocks? I've never seen talk to us about it.
Yeah, so we are super, super structured. Every day we've got our daily plan and then we've got our weekly plan. We try and stick to that to the best as possible. So my day starts 5:30, get up, go to the gym. That's day one. I always like to say to myself and say to other people, if you can get up, go to the gym that early, the hardest part of your day is over. It can't get any harder than that, right? So it doesn't matter, you're door knocking, you're doing negotiations, the hardest part of your day is over. It's only easier from there. Come home, nutritious breakfast every single day, and then I get into the office around between 8:30, 9 o'clock, as early as I can. And then straight away, we're doing our letters straight away. Just listed in the area, just sold in the area, get those out straight away. Again, hardest part of the day, get it out of the way first. That way, if you've got negotiations that start early afternoon into the evening, you just keep on going. You've got no distraction. You're like, I haven't done my letters. I've got to get back to the office and do them. They're already done. The hardest part's over. So get that out of the way first, and then you can carry on with the rest of the day.
And I imagine in that there's, and I can't remember the guy's name, but there's something about some guy that was in the military that says the first thing you should do is make your bed. You know what I'm talking about there, eh?
Yeah.
And it's like, so I imagine by 12 o'clock you're already feeling a bit of momentum.
Absolutely.
Because you've smashed out this, you've smashed out that, you've smashed out this.
Yeah.
That in turn probably creates this positivity in your mind.
Yeah.
That you then carry through to that appraisal appointment.
That's right.
And so when you're turning up, you're on the balls of your feet, you're looking like Alex Dunn.
That's right.
You're feeling really good.
You're feeling positive and all that kind of thing. And I guess the other thing is that when I first, all through school and all through uni and into real estate, it's like, I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not doing anything spectacular, but I'm up earlier than everyone else. I work harder than everyone else, and that's how I try and get ahead. So that's the same philosophy I've taken through for everything.
And look, if you looked at my Twitter X feed right now, those short motivational videos, they're all saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Just dig deep, give it the big ones, and give it stronger and harder than the next guy, and the reward will follow.
Yeah.
It sounds like you've kind of taken that on.
Pretty much.
You don't just get that from yourself. So just talk to me about people in your life, whether in your network or people like, who do you follow? Where do you get your inspiration from?
Who do I get my inspiration from? There's a lot, I think big one for me was actually when I was probably 16, 17 years old, start going to the gym, want to put on some muscle, and a guy named Rich Piana, he was a huge guy, juiced out of his mind. And his whole thing was, well, if you're doing something and you're not getting the results you want, you got to do more. So that was just the whole thing I was doing. If I'm dropping 100 letters and not getting calls backs, I'm not doing enough letters. You do 1,000 letters, 2,000 letters, 3,000, 10,000 letters, then you're getting callbacks. So that was the whole thing. If I'm knocking on doors and not getting results, you're not knocking on enough doors. I fully believe in that.
Yeah, no, I love it. So I've got another question here.
Yeah.
A defining moment in your real estate journey, was there a time where you kind of shook off the new vibes and you look back and go, yeah, that's when I really started to feel it?
Yeah, I think defining moment for me was we started getting a lot of listings on one street that we'd been prospecting really hard, and I drove to work one day down this particular street, and it was just signboard. I think we had 8 signboards on that street at one time, and it was like, okay, like this is a proper career move now. This is what we're going to do. We're going to keep going. We're not going to lose this momentum. And that really flicked the switch for me. It's like, okay, I've worked hard to position myself as the suburb expert, to the area expert, to the expert in real estate. This is now starting to show for itself. We need to keep it going. I need to keep that persona going.
So with all of the success you've seen, and I don't know if I can let this slip on the podcast, I hope I can, but you're about to become a father.
Yes, yeah.
Congratulations. It's super exciting, super cool. And so that balance piece is going to become quite important for you.
Yeah.
Just talk to me about that and about what is Alex Dunn doing outside of that, of work, outside of real estate?
Yeah, so, like you say, baby on the way, so I've got to pull that structure in a little bit more. I have a super important wife to me, love her to bits. They're a huge support system for us, so I'm really grateful that she's able to just say, I understand you're in a growth phase and probably will be for the next, 5-6 years. Super supportive of that, and she's happy for me to just go and do my thing. So I think that's super important, but at the same time, I know that I need to be spending more time at home with her, with the baby, giving that sort of support. At the moment, we're doing crazy hours because we're so hungry for that growth. So it's finding that balance. And that's the great thing about working with Amy as well, being able to say, okay, I'm going to have, half day on this day, or I'm having a week off and going on holiday around Christmas or whatever it is. So one of us can pick up the ball while the other one is off, taking time out.
How do you feel? Let's just stick with that team dynamic.
Yeah.
Do you get worried when you go away? Like, is he going to be able to, or is that, have you just got this complete, he's got my back, he knows it?
Yeah, it's just blind trust. I don't need to worry about anything.
Do you butt heads and often, like weekly, daily? What is that? Like no relationship in life is perfect. So don't try to tell me that there's not that conflict.
Yeah.
Just, is it healthy? How do you push each other? And is one person pushing the other more? Just what's the dynamic?
I mean, it's a question we get all the time from people. I mean, everyone wants to know. I mean, from the outset on Instagram, it all looked, all good. But no, we argue all the time. It's a proper brother relationship that we have. We argue every single day about something. But at the end of it, it's like we both have a common goal. What we're arguing about is the best negotiation strategy. Should we, pitch this way or this way? It's, should we pitch an auction negotiation or a deadline sale? Like, this is the stuff we argue about. We got to step back and say, actually, we're working towards the same goal. It doesn't matter which way we go. The goal is get the listing, get the sale across the line, whatever it might be. But it's a healthy as. We can argue all the way up to literally to an appraisal, jump out the car and it doesn't even matter. It's literally a brother's relationship. But we push each other pretty hard. Depends on the day. I mean, the good thing is, if Emmy's had a restless night with his kids, or if I'm not feeling 100% on the day, the other one can pull each other up. It's very, very unlikely you got two people that are just down in the dumps, don't really feel like working. So we can pull the other one up. Hey, what's going on? Let's, put your head in the game kind of thing.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. I asked Emmy this question in my catch up with him, and I would like to hear your thoughts as well. And I would preface my comment by saying, inherently, the people, the agents that I know in the business are good people, and they are yes people, and they want to say yes, and they don't want to let you down, and they want to do a good job. So when it comes time to come and see a homeowner and have a discussion to say, we need to reduce the price on your property so it meets the market and sells. I know it's not what you want to hear, but your property is only worth $649,000. How do you front those conversations? Is it uncomfortable to you? And how do you feel about giving people not necessarily bad news, but the truth and the facts?
Yeah, I think it's probably a real estate's hardest job is having a tough conversation with really good people. So we go into it and we often say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, thank you for your time this evening. It's usually in the evening. We'll say just like this. We'll say, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, thank you for your time this evening. One of our toughest parts of our job is having tough conversations with really good people. This is one of those times. And it sets the tone from the get-go. Their faces drop. They're all ears to you. And you can very methodically and just tell them what they need to hear. Most people want to know what they want to hear. If someone, you go like have a price conversation, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, your property's only worth $600, our currently priced at $700, I think we need to have a price reduction. If they're saying to you, no, it's worth $700 all day long, and you can show them, hey, buyer A said this, buyer B said that, we've had offers at this level, we took to auction, it's at this level. If they still deny those facts, I would question their motivation to be selling their home. And then again, it's a conversation, come back to what is those motivations? Is it because they want to move over to Australia? Come back to that, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, you said you wanted to move over to Australia. What's that move worth to you guys? Breaking it all back. But like I say, most people want to hear the truth. It's hard to say, but once you deliver it, that stress goes away. You can actually have a productive conversation. And most of the time, you're getting really, really valuable information that helps everyone move forward, them included, you included, buyers to come forward.
And I would ask the question there for anyone that's like resonating with what we're talking about here to say, how do you feel once you've got that news off from your heart and your head and your mind and your body? Because it weighs on you, right? And then it's placed in the court in the most unpleasant but factual, supportive kind of way. Feels a heck of a lot better than sitting with the information, driving from open home to open home, not wanting to just send that text to say, unfortunately, no one through today. I'll give you a call later. Let's discuss a plan for next week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, isn't it interesting?
Absolutely. And I think we always try and meet people face to face. I think deliver that face to face rather than text message or over the phone. Like, let's have a productive conversation. Like, this is not a problem, it's a solution we need to find. We're closing out to the final questions. Before we do that, I want to ask you, in terms of tools that real estate agents have, if there were three of your top tools, and I mean, I couldn't imagine doing real estate without them. What would those three items be? Lucky pen, for example. I think definitely the iPad. And get the iPad that connects with the SIM to the internet and all that kind of thing rather than the Wi-Fi. Huge tool. It's basically a little laptop. It's got every document we need for every property. Huge for us. Obviously the cell phone as well. You got to have that. You can't live without that. And then I think your Facebook, social media, ads manager as well. Huge tool as well. Huge outreach you can get. I mean, I can be driving between appointments. I mean, reaching literally thousands of people. Big important tools for us.
No, that's good stuff. Let's just talk about the market and where do you see things moving as this year progresses? Are we going to see some improvements? Are you confident? Are you feeling positive, feeling negative? Are we going to stick in this kind of rut? What are your thoughts and feelings? And speaking from the heart.
Yeah. It's an interesting question for me to answer, Craig, to be honest. I mean, I adopt the mentality that the market's the market. There's nothing I can do personally to change it, so we play the field that's in front of us. We just carry on every single day. We carry on with our letters, with our door knocks, with our calls, with our text messages, open homes, calling back buyers, doing the basics very, very simple. It doesn't matter the market's up or down. The market's the market. I can't do anything to change it, so I just carry on. So, unfortunately, Craig, I don't have any predictions. If it gets better, great. If it gets worse, is what it is.
That's
we just carry on.
And I'm glad you answered that in the way you answered that, Alex, because that's one of the things I really respect about you. And my personality, I do like to pay attention to absolutely everything. Probably sometimes to my detriment. I really like that you can block that stuff out and just stay in your own lane, swim your own race.
Head down.
I really love it. If anyone has been watching our catch up that is not a real estate agent and has been thinking about it, what kind of advice would you give to that person?
What advice would I give to someone thinking about starting real estate? Definitely want to get your structure in place. Understand that this is not an easy job. It's hard. You're going to put in big hours. It's not easy to get started. Have a good savings amount behind you, probably, I'd say 3 months worth of expenses, whatever that involves for your life. It's going to be tough. Make sure you have your structure. Stick to it. Do the basics very, very right. I don't do anything. Amy doesn't do anything too complicated. We do the basics consistently.
Yeah, that's a real simple but highly truthful, factual message from my position and where I'm standing. Yeah. You've achieved a lot in your 4 years so far in real estate, breathtakingly. So number one for Rate My Agent for Papakura, right, for the past year. For Harcourts, you've finished top 20 Harcourts Northern Region. So you should be very proud of yourself.
Absolutely.
Yourselves. In terms of what's next, so what are the next goals? Where are we going to see this develop and progress?
Yeah. So I guess first and foremost is staying consistent. We don't want to go backwards, but I think biggest goal for this financial year is we want to be top 20 nationwide for Harcourts. That's the big goal.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah. And we won't be stopping there.
If people are buying or selling or thinking about it, whether it be a change in life circumstances, relocating, Australia, Timbuktu, wherever the case may be, who are they calling? What's the number?
Yep. Give me a call, 0211 044 954. Have a look on our website. Have a look at our reviews on Rate My Agent. We would love to have a conversation with you guys.
If there's anyone thinking about getting into real estate and they don't want to talk to me, I don't know why you wouldn't want to, such a amicable, friendly kind of guy, but if they just wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth and ask you a couple of questions about your business and real estate in general, are they welcome to get in contact?
Absolutely, yeah. If you're thinking about getting into real estate, please do get in contact, 0211 044 954. Happy to have a quick chat with you guys, meet up with a coffee, whatever we want to do.
Alex, thank you. Now, I've really enjoyed our bond. We share some similar interests, and I'm really excited. I'm really proud of you, and thank you for coming on the show and just having a chat.
Thank you, Craig. I appreciate your time.
Awesome.
Thanks, mate.
That's a property podcast for another session. I haven't booked my next guest, but I can tell you one thing. Whoever that person is, it's going to be an exciting podcast. So stay tuned. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Harcourts Property Podcast. Craig Stewart, your host, saying see you again soon.